So anyway, yesterday I mentioned the sons of the prophets. I just thought we should start there. I believe that I am a spirit with a soul that lives in a body. As a result, I'm a 3 in 1. Spirit with a soul that lives in a body. And when we talk about development, we tend to talk more about things rather than about people. We talk about sustainable development goals. My friends and I have argued that until we have an inner development, we have been fully developed internally and inside ourselves. We cannot be agents for any development out there. Anyone who follows the African news, there was a coup in Gabon. One of the things that came out when the soldiers went into the houses of the leadership were trunks and suitcases of hard cash in American dollars. And people go around and say we are poor in Africa. And we like to talk about poverty and we embrace it as part of our identity. If anyone listened to the state capture that for the poverty of our imagination only looked at the relationship of Jacob Zuma with a guy who only owns 2% of the economy and did not look at the rest. But that, just as a tip of the iceberg, showed us that we are defrauded by the people we put in leadership in millions and billions of rands every year. If those figures they were talking about were put into roads, schools and hospitals, every square kilometer of road in this country would be tarred. But these are people who are black people, who are in leadership, who do not love themselves and their people enough to be able to use those resources for the benefit. And what they do when they get to the podium, they point to 300 years of apartheid and colonialism. And I'm asking, these 30 years you have had the opportunity, have you led differently? 2 Kings chapter 6 gives me a metaphor that I want to use to respond quickly to the question about the youth that was raised yesterday by some of the elders among us. And the sons of the prophet said to Elisha, "See now, the place where we dwell with you is too small for us. Please let us go to the Jordan, and let every man take a beam from there, and let us make there a place where we may dwell." So he answered, "Go." Then one said, "Please, consent to go with your servants." And he answered, "I will go." So he went with them, and when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees, but as one was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell in the water, and he cried out and said, "Alas, master, for it was borrowed." So the man of God said, "Where did it fall?" And he showed him the place. So he cut off a stick and threw it in there, and he made the iron float. Therefore he said, "Pick it up yourself." So he reached out his hand and took it. If I was at church, I would say, the saints of God will say amen. But I'm using this story as a metaphor. I'm taking and borrowing from this text a metaphor about development, a metaphor about involvement. Here are the young people who are the sons of the prophets, which means they are students in the school of prophets, and they are uncomfortable with where they are. Development starts when you and I are uncomfortable about the status quo. Development starts when this discomfort does not render itself to a negative lamentation, that is a lamentation without purpose, where you are thinking, they should have done this. They could have easily said, doesn't Elisha see we are crowded here? They could have easily said, why doesn't Elisha build something bigger? We are so crowded here. It's going to be unhealthy. This is a health risk. This is cholera waiting to happen. But they didn't do that. They didn't say that. I can see that they brainstormed and said, you know what we can do? They looked at the asset, the River Jordan, nice, beautiful cedar trees. We can cut them and make a beautiful new college. They went with that idea. So they looked at their asset base. And they're even moving from where they are to Jordan, to closer to where the assets are. And they want to cut down the assets and put a new college that they would be able to work. And I can see that they have realized the agenda, the mission, what the Constitution says about South Africa and its aspiration. And they are thinking, how can we contribute to this agenda? By building a bigger college, we have more sons of the prophets, they are trained, they go out, and we can create this thing that the prophet has in his vision. And as they do this, they collect X's at that point are very expensive. No one has an axe or chainsaw, so they go. And I just want to say quickly that Elisha, the relationship between them was a relationship of trust. They go to Elisha and say, let's do this. And Elisha does not question them. Why do you want to do? So you don't like what I'm doing? No, he doesn't do that. He says, guys, go. And they say, as our leader, we want you to be there for the moral support, for guidance. Come with us. And he didn't say, it's your idea, go. He went with them. So there is no pride and arrogance. And they are able to come to Elisha because they all saw the kind of person that Elisha is. And Elisha in this metaphor represents leadership. Sometimes we accuse our young people for not wanting to do things when as elderly people are not open enough for the younger people to come and make themselves available to conjoin themselves to the agenda. So one of the things I want us to reflect about is whether as elders we are making the vision clear and we're making ourselves available to work with the energy of the young people so that we can create the future that they see. So they get to Jordan, they start cutting. In the enthusiasm of cutting, the X slips off. Anyone who has seen an X, there are two types of X. One goes like a peak, it goes into the hole, then the other X is drilled into the wood, right? Those are the two types of X's you find. Whichever type of X it was, one got out, slipped out of the wood and handle into the water. And this was a borrowed X. We are living on borrowed time. We borrow this earth not from the people who gave it, handed it to us, but from the children who are yet to be born. We're living on borrowed time, we're using borrowed resources. How do we hand them to the next generation? It's an important question. You would not find any places littered with plastics and what I've seen. I used to be a residence warden. I would see how students threw everything in the residence. And one day I called a meeting and they said to me, oh, there are people paid to to clean. We can't now take them away their jobs and say this is lower class economics. They think job creation is by littering. Then I ask the question, if your mother was the one cleaning in this res, would you be happy to throw used condoms the way you do them here? So that your mother would pick them? So sometimes we do things without reflecting and bringing ourselves into the equation of what we are doing. And when we do things and remove yourself, so this guy has borrowed an X, and he understands, I don't have an X. Economically, what this means is now that he now needs two X's to return the one he borrowed and one for himself, because borrowing is a shame. There is no one who has pride in asking for anything from anyone. So as we go to become the municipal managers, mayors, whatever we have to become when we live here, be careful and mindful of the position that you were given, that you're not throwing it into the deep, muddy Jordan River. But he calls out to the prophet, and he says to the prophet, alas, master, it was borrowed. So there is trust in the master's ability to provide a solution. And the master comes, he does something that's not scientific. I tried to look for a scientific model to explain this. He takes a stick and drops into the water. If you know little science, there is no scientific mathematical model you can use to explain putting a stick and something as heavy as an iron X goes up. So biblically we think of it as a miracle. But this is a metaphor of what could happen. And also, just to finish on that metaphor, when he puts the stick into the water, the iron floats. And when the iron floats, he says to the young man, pick it yourself. So he's involving him in creating a solution to the problem that he caused. How are we, as young people and leaders, helping each other to find solutions?